Hi, I'm your host Vasco Duarte. Welcome to the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast, where we share tips and tricks from Scrum Masters around the world. Every day, we bring you inspiring answers to important questions that all Scrum Masters face day after day. Hello, everybody. Welcome to one more week of the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. And this week, joining us from Belgium, but a Brazilian, is Artur Margonari. Hi, Artur. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Vasco. Thanks for having me. It's good to see you. My double citizenship is Portuguese, and it's always nice to see how can I tell, like maybe a half brother, or it's good to have you here.
Exactly. Artur is a Brazilian, as I said, living in Belgium since 2014, and when not playing music, practicing martial arts, or traveling, he supports organizations in their agile and continuous improvement journey. He also, curiously, just adopted a cat and a dog, which are, of course, running around in the background as we record. So, Artur, let's dive into this. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and how did you end up becoming a Scrum Master?
Yeah, so actually my first job was cleaning big functional printer machines. They sold that job as a developer because that was my university, my degree, and I was still studying, and they say, hey, come to work as a developer, but it was to clean printer machines, which I discovered after I passed everything. So you had to remove like 80 screws from the big machines, remove the toner, assemble it back, and send to the client. And after a month, I went to the help desk where people were calling some weird names and talking about my mother. And I was, sir, I'm here to help you. Have you checked if your printer is plugged in the electricity? But it's an absurd, it's already, oh, wait. Actually, no, it was not plugged. All right, sir, I'm here to help you whenever you need me. Right after, I really started going for the development after 2 months. And then I started really putting into practice my experience and my knowledge from the university. And I got another job after 6 months that was building a big ERP for big companies and pharmacies. And there I heard the first time Scrum. Zero idea what was that. It was just like, hey, we already tried to implement Scrum here twice and we failed. And some part of my brain was like, challenge accepted. And I had no idea what is that. I was just like, okay, it was a team of 4 people. There was one project manager and the owner of the company poking us on the back after 5 minutes, every day, 5 minutes. Hey, how is it going? Hey, how is it going? Hey, show me the progress. And then I was like, okay, let me check this other way of working because the way we are working today might not be the most comfortable for everyone. So let me check what is this. Luckily enough, the first certification for the Scrum Master, a CSM in my city, which is Goiânia in Brazil. If you don't know the city, it's fine. It's not a very famous one, but it was the first session in my city. And I was like, there you go. I'm going to learn about this. Let's see what is it about. After just 2 days, you can talk anything about certifications. We can have a whole podcast about certifications, but that was enough for me to know what I didn't know, to show me a way. You don't get like, I can work in whatever company after just 2 days, but it's enough to say like, what? So there's this other way of working. All right, let me dig deeper. So I started studying online courses, certifications and trainings and going to conferences, talking to people, LinkedIn groups. And I didn't tell anyone. I was still studying myself. And I looked at the owner's eyes of the company and said like, I want to become a Scrum Master here. And then he was like, okay. So as I was saying, he totally ignored me. I was like, no, you don't understand. We are going to make it work. Can be 1 month, can be a year. I don't know, but I'm going to make it work. And then he was like, okay, this guy's probably saying seriously. So I managed to get the role, or at least the possibility of implementing. And after 8 or 9 months of a lot of lessons learned, a lot of mistakes, he could see that he didn't need to poke us in the back after 5 minutes again and again. Actually, that stopped right after maybe 1 month or 2 months because the transparency was so high. We had the specific sessions to have the touch points and he know what was coming. He know what we delivered. We had feedback. And then it stopped simply. We had more time to focus as a developer because I was double hat. I was a Scrum Master and a developer. And soon enough, he said like, you know what? can you do this magic on the other team? I said, like, magic?
Do it.
Magic? What do you, I mean, yes, first answer was like, yes, let's do it. But in my mind, I was like, magic? What this guy's talking about? I was sweating every day.
Of course, for him, it was magic because he didn't go through all of the learning and studying and struggling you did. Actually, we are here also because today's Monday. We are here to talk about the struggle. So I think this is a great segue. So Artur, share with us one of those moments where you as a Scrum Master, you did your best, but at that time, as it often happens, the best just wasn't good enough. Of course, we want to talk about this because we want to learn from it. But before we dive into the learnings, share that story with us, Artur.
I have plenty. I actually have plenty. But there was one session. It was my first job in Belgium. As soon as I moved, my English today has a very strong accent. It's far from perfect. But 6 years ago, Vasco, my English was really bad. So I got a first job here and I was still trying to communicate, trying to learn English and trying to speak a bit more fluently. And I had this mission, which by the way was just like go and implement Scrum on that team, right? That was the mission. It's not like, hey, come here, observe and see what is possible to do with that team. It's like implement Scrum on that team. Okay, I accepted. And then it was one team here in Belgium, another remote in Spain, and another in India. And I did a session of an estimation of the backlog that was probably 4 hours. At the end of this session, Vasco, I didn't know where to flush my head. I wanted to flush my head on the toilet. I was like, I can't believe it. And I said sorry so many times at the end of the session because I was using Post-its on the wall, but the camera was not good enough. People couldn't read. My facilitation skills at that time was close to zero. And I was trying to speak English at the same time. I was trying to put in practice what I've learned about Agile and Scrum in 1.5 year journey. The team was new. The session was supposed to be 1.5 hours. It was 4.5 hours. So it was so many mistakes together. And at the end, I was like, I'm sorry. I didn't know what to say. I think I said, I'm sorry 10 times. And a woman even arrived at the end and said, like, Artur, don't say this amount of sorry. It's better that you don't even say sorry. Just say what you can improve next time. Just say like, yeah, those are the problems. Or just ask us how we felt about it. Because actually I like it that it was the first time I've seen my colleagues in India, because we are working together for 1 year and you are the first one who asked to put on the cameras and we could see each other. So there is always a bright side on that, but the bright side was way smaller than the whole mess I've done. And I was really focusing getting Scrum, while maybe a Kanban would suit them better because I just followed the mission, right? My mission was go implement Scrum. So that was one of the big ones that I remember that like it was at the very beginning and I felt like, no, I can't do that.
From this story, there's a couple of takeaways. So first of all, I think it is great that you actually tried, even though at that time it was probably a big challenge, and then you discovered very quickly what didn't work for that specific session. It's very important for us as Scrum Masters to take that ownership. Like, okay, I don't know how to do it, but I will try, because my mission, your mission at that time was implement Scrum, but actually our mission as Scrum Masters is help the team. And you got some feedback that was exactly in that direction, right? It was the first time I met my Indian colleagues. Right? That's a huge help. Now they can talk to each other, right? And then the other aspect, the other takeaway I want to highlight is this concept of just following the mission, but not that part. I want to highlight the second side of that takeaway, which is, and not listening to the team. Because had you listened to the team, right, you would have been ready to accept that, you know, the estimation wasn't perfect. The session lasted 4 times more than I thought it was going to last. But I got the team to talk to each other, and they shared with each other things they didn't share before. I also want to highlight this because I think this story kind of exemplifies, illustrates the anti-pattern I find myself in sometimes, I'm sure many of our listeners find themselves in sometimes, which is to think that Scrum is a Scrum Master journey, but it isn't. It's a team journey.
Yeah, that's nice. That's not, it's very nice the way you put it, because yeah, we have sometimes a tendency of becoming the Scrum Master superhero. We want to do everything. It's on us, and the success is on us, and their failures is on us, and we have to do that, and we have to fix all the problems and all the escalations, and everything has to be solved by ourselves. That shouldn't really be the case. I'm just gonna park this one because problems and impediments, they are two different things. Let's talk about it maybe later. But for that session specifically, in hindsight, I can look. I still get one cold sweat here. Huh? When I think about that, I still get one like one goosebumps. But the other feedbacks they gave me afterwards were like, we never estimated and broke down our work like that. It was never that visible. It was always big chunks that we were like planning for 9 months or 1 year. And it was the first time we could break that down and visualize the work, even though the colleagues remotely couldn't see because I was using Post-its and writing with a ball pen,
yeah.
A ball pen. It was like a big, like people couldn't read even like by 2 meters far, but okay, another lesson learned. But yeah, there is always something to learn from those sessions. There is always some value we can deliver. But I think what I was successful on that part was I was really thinking about them. I was thinking about 3 groups of people working together towards the same goal. And I just wanted them to talk together. I wanted them to think about the product more instead of an iceberg, but rather in small chunks. And that helped to be less disaster, I think.
Absolutely. A great story. Thank you for sharing that, Artur. Monday is about what we learn from our obstacles and our failures. But tomorrow is Team Tuesday here on the Scrum Master Toolbox podcast. We explore teams and their journeys, the habits they develop that threaten their performance, how each of our guests help their teams evolve, and the one key lesson they learned from that experience. We really hope you liked our show. And if you did, why not rate this podcast on Stitcher or iTunes? Share this podcast and let other Scrum Masters know about this valuable resource for their work. Remember that sharing is caring.